was known as Canada's strongest man. Well, that's what Gorilla Monsoon used to call him when he was performing for WWF at the time. He was the bleach blonde, muscle bound heel who hated the USA and praised everything that was Montreal, Quebec, Canada. But Dino Bravo was someone who, in his 6 years in WWF, really was a presence as a mainly a heel. But before that, he was involved in international wrestling, which he was a co-owner. And he was the top babyface, and he billed himself as their top champion. He held the title for like 4 to 5 years, and there's a lot of dissension. A lot of people wanted that spot, but there was Dino's spot to have, and the guy really wasn't someone who was much hated. He was loved by everybody. You know, Raymond Rougeau was not Raymond Rougeau, but Jacques Rougeau was in here. He's one half of the legendary Rougeau brothers tag team with Raymond Rougeau. And in that promotion, he had guys like King Tonga, who we know as Haku. Andre the Giant was there, and who else? But there's just a number of them that were there. And then when promotion of WWE got wind of their promotion and their talent, they started offering them contracts, and slowly but surely, everybody started going over to WWF, and it left Dino Bravo's promotion of international wrestling kind of like a life support. And so he decided, and he relented, and then he decided, okay, I'm going to go to the other promotion. They offered him $300,000 guaranteed money, which would more likely add up to about $1 million over the course of his time there. And he was there for 6 years, like I said. But when they decided that he was no longer, viable as a talent, they had new guys coming in like Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, and among others. He found himself at a crossroads and pretty much said it was time for him to leave. So his contract expired. He left, and really still needed to pay the bills, take care of his wife and his daughter. And he was used to a lavish lifestyle, having wrestled with WWE. So it's like he needed to make money and make it fast. And so he turns to the only outlet that he could really turn to, that was organized crime. His uncle was head of Quebec's number one crime family there, and he was related to him. That was his uncle, and so he started working for them. He was pretty much like muscle. He would collect debts. He would, So you see Dino Bravo coming, and if you owed something, you're gonna let him in the house, and you're gonna give him the money or whatever property you have, or you're gonna give up a limb, maybe. So he was doing that, and then it goes to the whole thing of he was found dead, sitting in his recliner, remote in one hand, and there was no sign of any struggle. No one broke into the door, so they were saying pretty much that it had to be someone he knew. But then they talked about how, even though they saw that he was there, he was sitting in his sofa, his couch, and he was dead, they noticed that, he was shot 11 times, 7 times in the head, which, oh my God, that's overkill. And like one shot is enough, and then 4 times in his body, total of 11 shots. And they're speculating in this, in the Dark Side of the Ring episode, I didn't mention that, but it's season 2, episode 6, The Assassination of Dino Bravo is the title. And that right there, it's like, oh, okay, I heard about this, because I heard about it. I didn't know, because, pretty much you move on to other superstars, other wrestlers, and didn't even realize that Dino was gone. You forget about those that go, and then you're just maintaining your your attention on those that are there. And I didn't even really know that this is how he met his end, but they show it here, and they know that he was shot and killed. Then they're thinking that maybe it's the mob family, that he was with. It was like a mob hit. Or there's these people known as the natives that he was involved in smuggling contraband cigarettes. Then there's these bikers who also was in on the game, and they're talking about how maybe the bikers were the ones that killed him because people made it look like it was two people that were in there, more than one person, assassinated him. They're saying that maybe they did it because he was a rival, someone who was getting in on their business, or maybe they probably took the contract out on him, or maybe the natives took a contract out on Dino Bravo. But there was one thing where they were talking about where he was being tailed by investigators, and they ended up breaking it up, and they seized $400,000 worth of, money. And that right there probably was enough to get him killed because he messed up. There were some people that they were interviewing, from reporters who were there at the time, some promoters, people he wrestled with, friends, and some people were even saying, a lot of them were saying, people got, it was actually the reporter, and he said, well, people have gotten killed for less than, it was actually, not that, but it was actually, there was like a $50,000 worth of, money, and they were like, he had it in his, in a box, something like that. It was hidden somewhere. They found it, and apparently it was stolen money, something like that. And he asked the reporter. The reporter was like, well, you think the interviewer was like, do you think that's enough for him to get killed? And then he goes, oh, well, people have gotten killed for worse, killed for less, killed for worse. They were killed for less, and that's true, because they have a code, those mafia people. You watch the movies, you watch Goodfellas, and Sopranos and all that stuff, and it's almost all about respect. And if you disrespect them, it doesn't matter what you do. It could be on a lower level or a higher level, and you disrespect them, and then some of them feel like they're gonna kill you, put out a hit out on you, something like that, stuff like that. And it's really shocking that this is how Dino Bravo made its end. Because we really don't know nobody really, and who are we to know the wrestlers and personalities in pro wrestling? We don't know what they do, off of a thing. But he wasn't even doing this while he was wrestling. He did it because he had no choice. He had no income coming in. He had a 6-year-old daughter, had a young wife, and it's like he had to take care of them. It's really heartbreaking, when you see his wife and his daughter speaking, especially the daughter. She has such a tight relationship with her dad. Everywhere he went, he would always bring her. He would always have her meet the wrestlers. He'd go to the locker room and then stuff like that, and she always remembered these big hulking guys that that she would meet and stuff. And you see her at the end of this thing, she's talking about her dad and how she wants people to remember him and his legacy. And she said pretty much what it is about him is that if you remember him, you remember him for his passion, because he was so passionate about wrestling. He started wrestling at 22, in 1970, and then he died, 22 years later, or something like that. 92. Look, at 70, he started in 70, and he was killed in 92. And that's all he knew, That's all he knew. That's all he. That was his very existence, was wrestling. She said pretty much like, that's his legacy he leaves behind, is that he was a passionate person. That's how he should be remembered by wrestling fans. And I didn't know about how passionate he was. I really didn't. I just knew him for the beach blonde, America-hating Canadian who was a strong guy, and he was pretty impressive in the ring. And I remember him that bench press contest, and and then you can see Jesse Ventura, who was spotting him, and then he helps him to lift the thing up, and then it's controversial that he didn't break the a world record for bench pressing and stuff. But there's people that said that in a doc in this show episode, they're saying that he bench pressed about 500, and I'm not surprised if he if he did, you know. But he definitely was one of the characters, colorful characters during the golden era of WWE. During the time where he had all these colorful characters and all of these gimmicks, and he was part of that time and one of the best periods of wrestling. But unfortunately, he didn't really have a spot anymore after all the young guys. That's what after his golden era, he started the new era. And that's like I said, you see Shawn Michaels, you see Razor Ramon up in there. They're doing their thing. And then Bret Hart, all these guys. So he found himself on the outs, and unfortunately, he had to turn to a life of crime, working with his uncle, who was a boss of a crime family there in Quebec. And sometimes when you don't have any kind of resources, you gotta go with what is around. And unfortunately, he did what he did, and it cost him his life. Guy was still pretty young when he passed, and leaves behind his wife, a young wife. She was only 28 years old. Daughter who was only 6, and she ends up talking about at the end that she has 2 kids, and her son looks exactly like him. And she talks about how it would have been great to see him wrestle around with her son, and and I'm sure that he would have passed down a lot of knowledge, and he would have been loving as loving to his grandkids as he would have been as he was, I should say, to his daughter. But yeah, this was a good episode. I like so far every episode. I really get annoyed when you hear people criticizing, because people want to criticize, right? That's their lifeline. Their only way of existing is to criticize everything. They're talking about how a lot of these things are so haphazard, ham-handed, and they're so put together, and you don't even hear any resolutions or any kind of what happened here, follow up. It's just giving us the same stuff, like that. And I'm going, well, they're showing you what happened, and then they're showing you if there's any developments or any kind of different information. And I've found in every episode that I found something different that I never knew before about this thing. There's so many things I have not heard of before, but majority of all these stories I've heard, or these episodes I've heard. And here it's like, I remember, hearing about Dino Bravo and what happened with him, and being assassinated and killed in his living room. So, and there's some other things that I found out about, and but not much. But it's like, it's just what it is. It's there. What do you want? Everything to be tied up, put in a nice little gift box, and with a bow on it. Here you go. It's right in there. Open it up, and you'll see everything. No, it's like if they can't find nothing, or they don't have anything, they can't interview everybody. A lot of people refuse to participate. Rick Martel, who they asked, he declined. But there was an interview where he was talking about how he knew about Bravo's life as working in the mob, and he knew about that, and that he was involved in contraband cigarettes and selling them for, I don't know how much did he have, and he was selling them for $5 a carton, or $5 something. You know what I mean? And he was making a lot of money, and a lot of people want to smoke, so they're gonna buy it for cheap. And he knew about that, but he didn't want to participate. Maybe he could have shined a little more on it, but there's always a chance to follow up. That's what these shows are about. It's like Forensic Files, like all these things. They'll show a case. They don't have much, right? Even Unsolved Mysteries was like that. Even America's Most Wanted was like that. And then what do you see? The next season or a couple seasons later, oh, there's some more information on it. They might have more information on it if this thing continues to go on. If they renew it for another couple more seasons, you might see an update to the Dino Bravo case. You never know. But I liked it. And so far, so good with all of the episodes. Even the stories that I don't know about, it opened my eyes to know, okay, I never knew that. And it made me want to go and see some of these wrestlers that I didn't know of. That I watched their matches and like that. I mean, the only one I really didn't know about really was the wrestler Regina Hernandez. You know, yeah, I may have vaguely heard about him, but I went and saw some of his matches, and the guy was great. That's not what it does to you. That's what these things do. These shows, they open your eyes to maybe wrestlers you never knew before, or maybe you've heard of them, and maybe you saw a few things here and there, but you never really invested in watching them because you're so into your favorite wrestler and the wrestlers that we know. But right away, that's my video for Dark Side of the Ring, season 2, episode 6, entitled "The Assassination of Bravo." A very good episode. It's tragic how his life ended, but sometimes when you take a risk like that, oftentimes your life is what you lose your life, and that's what happened to him. But anyway, that's again, that's my video, and for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. And in closing it, as always, take care. Please remember to subscribe, click like, and click the bell icon for all notifications on this channel.